It's time to rank every character from Stranger Things, Season 5 included. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I've got a big old tier list ranking of every major character from all 5 seasons of Stranger Things. It's been a long time since I've done this video, since like the summer of 2022, and so now that Season 5 is over, it's time to do this. I've got about 59 characters here. Now, I won't be featuring every minor character in the show, but I have all the major ones with some of the minor ones associated. If you wish that I had included a character in this tier list that didn't make the final cut, let me know who and why in the comments down below. Before I get into this, hit that like button, comment down below your tier list ranking of all these characters, and if you want to fill out your own tier list, you can do so. It's linked in the pinned comment and the description of this video. Fill it out, tag me on Instagram, and I'll repost it to my story. And if you want extra content from the world of Stranger Things and beyond, Patreon is the place to be. But I got my standard tiers. Let's do one final character tier list ranking. So the tiers I have are S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. Again, just your standard tiers. Sometimes I'll customize them. I was like, it's probably easiest to just go with the basic letters here. The characters are fully randomized. There's about 60 of them. Hopefully I didn't forget any, but sometimes I'll like forget a main character somehow. I'll have all my notes typed up and I'm like, damn, I forgot that person. But I think I got them all. Without further ado, let's begin. The first character here is Steve, the Hair Harrington. I got the picture of him in the epilogue here. You guys already know he's one of my top 2 faves. I'm putting him right up in S tier. I think most people will have him there. His character arc is so wonderfully done. Like in season 1, he's kind of a dick. We can all agree, even though I still love him there because I have a toxic relationship with Steve at times. I forgive him for some of the things that he does when he pushes that boundary or goes a little too far. But in season 2, he wins us all over, especially because of his relationship with Dustin, and that duo was born. Season 3, he's an MVP, and then just from there, he is a delightful fan favorite who the Duffers love to sort of tease his death, and that always irked me to the end. I was like, he's not going to die, is he? And then they were like, nope. Cliffhanger, here you go. Or here, he's going to fall from this WSK radio tower at the end and we're going to fake you guys out. But he's got great quotes. He's funny, charming, and has had a great turnaround. And he's probably going to live the rest of his days out in Hawkins, and that's A-okay because he is like the hometown friend who never leaves your hometown, and that's fine. He has got a great heart, a big heart, and Steve has to be S tier. Next up, we've got Dr. Brenner. In terms of villains in the show, he's one of the better ones. He is a complex character who sort of operates in that gray area at times. Undeniably, he's manipulative. What he does is awful. In fact, he engages in some atrocious acts against humans, against children. Like, he's irredeemable, in my opinion. He is awful, but there is that weird relationship he has with Eleven where there is, like, a tenderness at times. I don't really know how to describe it because it's not like he's authentically her father or anything, but he has had her in captivity, essentially, and so there is this bond that grows between them. It's a weird psychological effect. I don't like him at all. I want to punch him in the face, and I'm glad he's dead. But I will go B tier because he is a well-written villain who adds a lot to the show. So Brenner in B tier just feels right. Next up, we've got Holly the Heroic, who for the first 4 seasons barely has any speaking lines, and then she has the final line of season 4. But the Nell Fisher recast allowed for this character to have a much more expanded role in the final season, and for the better. To me, Holly was a standout in season 5. Her entire plotline where she gets taken in the second episode to the Upside Down, consequently to Camazotz, and then ends up with Max on this little adventure, made for some of my favorite moments in the entire final season. I thought she also captured sort of the magical whimsy of the first season, with the kids being younger. Like, that youthfulness is shown through Holly, and so there's like flashes of season 1 and season 2 through her character and her interactions with her classmates and the other kids who were taken. So honestly, when it's all said and done, I thought Holly was a real standout. She was a delight, and through the first 4 seasons, she doesn't have much to do, but she has such a strong role in season 5 and is a Wheeler at the end of the day that maybe it's a recency bias, maybe I'm a madman. I'm going A tier with Holly Wheeler. I think she really won me over by the end, and Holly the Heroic deserves a spot in A tier. Now, next up, we've got Mayor Larry Klein. Klein's a swine, played by 80s icon Carrie Elways, who's of course in The Princess Bride, but I know him as Dr. Lawrence Gordon from Saw. If you know, you know. That movie rules. I am gonna say Larry Klein is a swine, and I don't have much kind words to say about him. I'm going D tier with him. He's not like an outright F tier character because I do like how he is your stereotypical, like, political crook in this show in the town of Hawkins. He's trying to screw over the common man, and they really portray that well. Plus, he's having a lot of fun with it. One of my favorite exchanges he has is with Hopper, when Hopper has his damn finger in a cigar cutter. I'm like, this is awesome. But he's, you know, not the best. He's kind of your stereotypical politician, not much else to say there. He's not like an awful character who does anything that I think deserves to put him in F tier, but in terms of like characters in the show, there are significantly better ones. Next up, we have Carol, who I should have next to Tommy H. Tommy H we'll get to eventually, but Carol, I'm going F tier, all right? Highly unlikable. Her and Tommy H both awful people, frankly, and bad influences on Steve. I'm glad that Steve finally sort of breaks away from them later on in season 1. I have nothing nice to say about her. She's like a mean girl, and I'm going F tier with her, frankly. Next up, we've got Erica Sinclair, a character who had her moments, right? She's introduced in season 2, and she has some fun moments. Then in season 3, she's part of the Scoops troupe. Season 4, she's a Lady Applejack, and she's, playing in Hellfire Club with Eddie and all them, playing D&D. And in season 5, she's helpful in enacting the Turnbow Trap. She just kind of ups her role each season and became more critical to the group. Also, she is going to be continuing the legacy of Lucas in high school. It's my headcanon that she's probably going to go on to start another Hellfire Club of her own. So I'm going to say A tier. I will even go over Holly with Erica. I just think that she had so many great moments in seasons 3, 4, and 5, and just witty one-liners, not only providing some comedy to the show, but just like having iconic one-liners, right? You can't spell America without Erica, just the facts. The list goes on and on. I mean, she's hilarious by the end. Next, we have Robin Buckley, a character who I adore. She's introduced in season 3, and her and Steve's duo really shines that season. Ultimately, she's a part of one of the best scenes in the entire show in the coming out scene where she tells Steve, great scene, the score there, it leaves like a pit in my stomach. It's so nostalgic. I can't really put words to it. But then, of course, in season 4, she's paired up with Nancy a lot. We get to see them as like Ruth and Rose. I always loved their dynamic there. And in season 5, she's with Will and helps him and ultimately gives him the courage to come out to all of his friends. So really loved this character's role in the show. So much so that I'm tempted to go S tier. In fact, for me, I will actually go S tier. This is my personal thoughts. This isn't some objective list. This is how I personally feel. I think she's an S tier character who, from her introduction, just took the show to a whole other level. We needed a character like Robin, and I'm so happy that she's around. I'm going S tier with Robin Buckley. Next up, we have Wayne Munson, who isn't a big character, but he's Eddie's uncle, and he's in a couple important scenes. There's one when Nancy talks to him and is kind of investigating about what's going on with these murders, and he gives sort of the spill on Victor Creel's story. The other scene that really stands out is in the epilogue of season 4 when he has a moment with Dustin where he breaks down, and Dustin basically tells him, like, I was there in the end with Eddie and he was a hero, and he sort of reassures Wayne, like, we will remember. Now, everyone might not remember Eddie's legacy for what it really is, but we know he's a hero even to the end. I'm going C tier with him. I just think that moment alone, carries a lot of emotional weight to me. I love the character of Eddie. We'll talk about him when we get there. But Wayne has that one little sweet moment where, it breaks your heart for the guy because he knows who the real Eddie is. All these other people's perception of Eddie is twisted. They don't know what he's really like. And this guy just lost his nephew, who he adored and loved dearly and cared for. And so it's tragic, but I'll go C tier with Wayne Munson. Next up, we have Joyce Byers, mother amongst mothers, alongside Steve. Joyce is S tier. I mean, a lot of the OG characters are going to be in that tier because they've been around for 5 seasons. We've had 5 seasons of development, 5 seasons of getting to know them and feel for them. I'm going S tier with Joyce. I'm going to go right up here. I mean, she is a mother. I don't have much else to say except you with the wrong family. So happy she's with Hopper in the end. Jopper Nation, rise. I'll never get sick of saying that. Next, we have Colonel Sullivan. I had a vendetta against this character in season 4. Anytime they cut to his storyline and him pursuing 11, I was like, this is a waste of time. This is easily my least favorite element of season 4. And in season 5, he doesn't play that big of a role. He's still hell-bent on finding 11, and then he gets severely burned at the Mac Z showdown with Vecna, and he kind of wises up. He's like, oh, these threats are real, and there is a problem out there, and it's not just all about finding 11. Honestly, Colonel Sullivan, I'm sorry to do this to you, man, but you can get bent. I'm going F tier. I'm going right here. I think that he is a highly annoying one-note character. The performance is great, but I just don't feel anything for this character. Anytime they cut to him in the show ever, I'm like, oh, here we go again. Next, we've got Barb, and I know Barb has her Ryder dies. I've never been a Barb fan. She's in a few episodes of the show in season 1. She appears, like her body appears, from time to time. I don't really rock with Barb, and I don't hate her by any means, but what did she really do outside of become viral on social media? She dies, obviously, that's tragic. You feel for her, but I don't know. I've always just been like, I've been on Barb. I'm going D tier. I don't really care for Barb. Sorry, not sorry. Next, we have Jonathan Byers, a character who has a fitting ending, right? He doesn't end up with Nancy, but there's hope that he will. He gets to go to his dream school, NYU. Of course, he's wanted to go there since he was 6 years old. I love that little callback. But Jonathan's real takeaway, like his major character trait to me that's always like stood out, is how great of a big brother he is. He cares deeply for Will, you know, despite what's going on in the world, despite what's going on with, you know, his parents fighting at a young age. Jonathan was always there and looked out for Will and made sure he felt safe, made sure he felt comfortable, and created a safe space for his younger brother. And he always was there and always showed up and loved him. Even when he was kind of absent at times in season 4, there were moments where he's like, hey man, I'm sorry, I'm here for you now. And so I'm going A tier with Jonathan. I'm going to the top of A tier. I think that he really is a great big brother who has his highs and lows. I think season 4 was definitely the low point for Jonathan, but in season 5, I think they did enough with him, especially when he saved Steve and they kind of make amends. I think they did enough with him to move him up in my ranking. I had him a little lower last time, but that was because I was coming off season 4, which is undeniably his worst season by far. And so he had a solid enough final season to where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's an A-tier character. Next, we have Stacy, who rejects Dustin at the snowball, who's kind of there in the other seasons, but ultimately, in the end, she's like, do you guys want to come to this party? And they're like, yeah. They go play D&D. I just wanted to throw her on here to include her. You know, ever since she rejected Dustin, I'm like, this character is not it. I'm going F tier. F tier for Stacy. Next, we have Susie. Justice for Susie. We did not see her in the finale, which was kind of upsetting. I was really hopeful that we might actually get to see her in that finale. Not only just see her in person with Dustin. We were robbed of that moment, but at the same time, there were bigger fish to fry. I get it. It makes sense that these two people who were really just dating via the radio at this time or the internet, because you know, technology was so young. They never saw each other. They lived across the country. It makes sense that they're not together 18 months later. Would I have loved to have seen her at his college? Absolutely. But that's life. You know, sometimes not everything doesn't work out. So Susie has her moment shine in Never-Ending Story. She helps out the gang in locating the Nina Project in season 4. I'll go C tier with Susie. Justice for her. I wish we got more of her. And speaking of Susie Poo, we've got Dusty Bun next. Of course, Dustin Henderson is an OG character, my favorite of all the kids in the show, and him and Steve have such a tight bond and relationship that it's really warmed my heart over the course of 5 seasons. In season 4, Dustin, you know, obviously has Eddie in his life, the big brother role model figure who, you know, tells him to never change. Dustin Henderson, stay true to yourself. And it's devastating to see that get ripped away from him. Gaten crushes it in this performance. I adore the character of Dustin, just like many of the characters on this list, and because of that, I am going S tier right behind Steve. Dustin has always been my favorite of the kids. That is still true to this day, and ultimately, he is going to continue the legacy of Eddie, and Hellfire lives, baby. Hellfire lives. Next up, we've got Argyle, a character who's there for comedic relief in season 4. Try before you deny became an iconic line, of course, with pineapple on pizza, and he does add some much-needed comedic flair and juice to the California storyline, which can drag if you go back and rewatch season 4. But he's still fun enough. We didn't see him back in season 5, and I didn't think he really needed to be there because he lives in California. I'm going to say C tier. I'm going to put him probably right about here. He's a fine enough character, but, you know, he served his purpose. He's not, like, great. He's not bad. He's just there. Next, we have Dr. K, military character who is hell-bent on finding 11. It is ultimately revealed to create more kids that have powers and recreate Brenner's experiments from Hawkins' lab. She's basically the face of evil, and there are a lot of organizations like this, we can assume in this world, that would do shady things, and they kind of sweep it under the rug, but they don't care about anything but power and weaponizing those that are weaker than them. It's really disgusting, honestly. I am going to say Dr. K, she's no Dr. Brenner. I don't really have much to say about her. I think Linda Hamilton's great in that role, but the character never really, like, we never go to the next level with her. She's menacing. She does have a commanding screen presence, but I am going to say D tier for Dr. K. I'll go the top of D tier, but it's just because, like, if you go back and look at season 5, anytime we cut to a scene with her and those around her, it's some of the weakest stuff in the entire season. That's where the momentum kind of screeches to a halt. You're like, oh, we're doing this whole military thing again. I get why they were there ultimately, because it did lend to 11's sacrifice, but still, I never really cared for Dr. K all that much. She was whatever. Next, we have Andy, F tier, just a generic jock character who bullies Dustin in season 5, and he's around in other seasons, but he's just a piece of shit. He's like got Erica pinned down in the season 4 finale. He's awful. I'm going F tier with him, probably like right here, and the character is just such a one-note jock anyway. Next, we have Ted Wheeler, who lives. He ultimately did survive the Demogorgon attack, miraculously, might I add. I don't know how he's alive and walking. Ted Wheeler is not the greatest, all right? He's usually napping. He's usually very absent. He's kind of just irritated with his family, and I don't even know if there's even a spark of romance between him and Karen, to be frank, but he exists, and he's probably napping on his lazy boy right now if he's still kicking it. I'm going with, not F tier, because he does have some funny one-liners and like interactions with Dustin, but I'll go D tier with him. probably like right here. I'll put him at the top of D tier just because, you know, take us for all we're worth. He always just has those like mellow dad lines. He's like, oh, I'm so fed up with this crap, but he doesn't have much else to provide. Next we have Fred Benson, who gets Vecna'd in season 4, the second kill at the hands of Vecna. He dies, I believe, in the second episode, and he's with Nancy for the most part. Kind of just a goob, and that's okay. He's a goofy guy. There ain't much to him, though. I'll go F tier, honestly, because, I mean, you got to look at all the characters in the show. Fred Benson, not very compelling. And correct me if I'm wrong, is Fred Benson also the name of the character from iCarly? Fred Benson, right? That's what I always thought. I'm going F tier regardless. We'll go right here, probably, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Next, we have Karen Wheeler, who is a badass in the end. She goes toe-to-toe with a Demogorgon, smashes a wine bottle. She'll do whatever it takes to defend her family. And she's got some awesome moments throughout the show. She's significantly better than Ted, but I can't go any higher than C tier. I would put her at the top of C tier for Karen Wheeler. She has her moments, and ultimately she does get to tell Mike, like, I'm proud of the person you've grown up to be. She does give, you know, Nancy some great words of advice throughout the show, especially in, is that season 3, I want to say? Yeah, I mean, every season she's kind of there for Nancy being a mother, and so she protects her family. I will go top of C tier. Honestly, the more I sit here and talk about this, I will actually go B tier with Karen Wheeler. I think that she has enough MVP moments where she defends her house, especially in season 5. She comes in and blows up those demos in the hospital and Escape from Camelot's. That alone is going to put her in B tier. Next, we have Derek Turnbow. You could call him Dipshit Derek. You can call him Delightful Derek. Whatever you want to call him, he's going in B tier. I think this character, played by Jake Connolly so well, comes into this final season when you don't think there's really room for any more characters in the show, and he steals multiple scenes. Suck My Fat One became an iconic line that just got laughs out of us every time it was said. He is so charming in this show, and you kind of hate him at first in Volume 1, but you grow to love him by the end, and ultimately he just has so many iconic one-liners and comedic bits throughout the season that I gotta go B tier with him. I think like right here probably. I would take these two characters over Derek, but Derek in B tier just feels right. Delightful Derek for the win. Now, moving on, we've got Lucas Sinclair, one of the OG party, one of the OG kids. Of course, I got to go S tier with Lucas. I'm going to throw him up there right now. Where is the tough part? I'd probably go right here over Joyce. Lucas is a phenomenal friend. He's always there for Max. Even when they're not technically dating in season 4, he's always looking out for her and has the best interests for her and all of his friends, right? There's a moment in season 4 where he's like, I'm sick of being picked on and I'm sick of, you know, being bullied. Like, he's trying to fit in with the sports crowd, but he wants to be there for his friends all the same. And I think that he's just such a great friend. An underrated duo is Lucas and Dustin. I think they have a very strong friendship, but also Lucas and Eleven, Lucas and Will. Like, he's there for everyone. He knows who he is. He's confident in that. And I just think that with him and Max as a couple, they're unstoppable. Lumax supremacy, and I really do end up loving the character of Lucas by the end of the show, especially when he reunites with Max. It gets the tears flowing. Next, we've got Troy, the bully from season 1. I felt like I needed to include some of these minor characters on here. The most notable thing about Troy, he pees his pants. Yep, that's it. I'm going F tier. This guy sucks. I'm sorry, there's nothing against the actor or anything, just the character is so annoying. I'm going the back of F tier for now. What a bum. Next, we've got Dimitri, or Enzo, if you will. When I see this face, I think of Game of Thrones. The girl has no name. I think that the character adds some depth to the Russia storyline, and this is like the character Hopper can relate to. I dig their plotting, their planning to escape, and also the moment where Hopper like goes in on him and causes him to start a fight so that Hopper can like pickpocket one of the guards. So much going on in the Russia storyline, and Enzo, or Dimitri, if you will, is crucial to it all. I'm going C tier, and I will probably go right there. Actually, I'm going to go at the top of C tier, even over Susie, just because I do love the moments with him and Hopper in the Russian prison. Next, we have Henry Creel, aka Vecna, aka Mr. What's-It, the main villain of this show, who ultimately has a very compelling arc as you find out why he became one with the Mind Flayer. He decided to give in to this evil. There's so much depth with this character that even extends beyond just the TV show, right? You've got the whole first Shadow play on Broadway that started on West End in London that dives into his backstory, why he is the way he is, his relationship with the character Patty Newby. All this isn't even tackled in Stranger Things, but in the show, Jamie Campbell Bower delivers a powerhouse performance. To me, I'd say probably the best performance of season 5, and the Massacre at Hawkins Lab monologue that he gives to Elle, like, sends chills down my spine. This character is so well acted, so well written, complex, the villain of Stranger Things, I will have to go S tier with Henry Creel. Now, I prefer the other characters in there, but I just think I have to go S tier in terms of characters. What a performance, and what a villain, really, in the end. I was so moved by what they did with this character. Next, we have Lonnie Byers, deadbeat dad, awful father, who just shows up to Will's funeral because he basically wants to capitalize off it and make money. Going in F tier, and it's really not even up for debate. I'd say he sucks. He's maybe the worst character in the entire show. I hate his guts, and we all should. Next, we have Vicky, who is in a couple episodes of the show. Ultimately, Robin ends up with Vicky in season 5, but we don't know if they're together in the epilogue, and we kind of assume they might have split off, and that's just what happens with time. People drift apart, and it's not like everyone can have that picture-perfect ending. Vicky has her moments. I'm between B and C tier for Vicky because she doesn't have enough of a role in season 5, I don't think, to warrant outright B tier. I would probably say genuinely top of C tier for Vicky because she does help out at the hospital, but I can't move her up to B tier. I wish that we got a little bit more from her. If she was more involved in the plot in season 5, she could probably be B tier, but C's fine. She's kind of like in that middle. She's a solid, fine character, but she didn't do anything to move her up to B tier or warrant that movement, in my opinion. Next, we have Lieutenant Akers, who was like the brute of the wolf pack right behind Dr. K. He has some exchanges with Hopper where they get to show off their acting chops. Fun fact about the actor, Alex Bro, he plays Brenner in the first Shadow play, so he's playing multiple. I guess you could say he's double dipping in the Stranger Things world. I am also going to go C tier with this character, not as high as some of the others. I will go like right here probably, and near the back of C tier, just because one note comes to mind, like he's playing the character well, but there's clearly some history with him. He's not all there mentally. He's a bit unhinged, especially near the end of the season, but there are more compelling human villains in this show, like a Dr. Brenner, for example. Next, we have Mike Wheeler, the main character of the show, you could argue, and really the leader. I'm so glad that in season 5 he got to reassume that role of being the heart, being the leader of this group. This character had a real strong start, right? He's like the guy in season 1. In season 2, he even has his moments. Takes a bit of a dip in season 3. His low point for sure is season 4 when he's involved with the California storyline, but ultimately he does come back in this final season. I think is his best, right? I know there's a debate, season 1 Mike versus season 5 Mike. I'm in the season 5 Mike camp just because he kind of bookends this entire show, right? He continues to tell the stories. At the end, when they're all playing D&D in the Wheeler basement, he's the one who sells everyone on this story of Eleven's alive. We just have to believe. He's going to go on to be the storyteller. He really does have a beautiful ending where he's looking on at Holly and her friends playing D&D, and he's like, there's always going to be another party. There's always going to be a legacy that lives on. And it is a beautiful closure to the show with the character of Mike Wheeler sort of being the emotional anchor of that epilogue in many ways, as he has the scene with Hopper as well. He's definitely the most impacted by the absence of Eleven, and I just feel so strongly that season 5 is his best season, that brings his arc to a close wonderfully, as he is a leader and he's able to rally the troops. There's even a scene in season 5 where like everyone's looking at Mike, listening to him as he lays out this plan. Even the adults and like the older teens like Steve and all them, they're all fully bought into Mike as a leader. And to me, season 5 really won me back over on this character who I was a little lower on coming off of season 4. So I'm going to say Mike is S tier. I'm going to say Mike is going fairly higher, like higher than I would have imagined. I'm going to go right here with him. Like, this character has climbed my rankings because of how great he was in that final season. So he is going pretty high in the S tier. Next, we have Terry Ives, a character who plays a major role with the character of Eleven, as this is her mother. And there's a great, scene in season 2 where we sort of get this backstory on why Terry Ives is the way she is in isolation and what happened to her mentally. Fascinating stuff. The character doesn't have the most screen time, and like we really don't get to spend a lot with her. I do wish we got more on her backstory. In fact, I'm game for more stories in this world with a younger Terry Ives and the whole Brenner lab experiments. I'm still gonna say she's probably a C tier character. I'll go like right here with Terry Ives, probably like right there feels appropriate, right kind of in the middle, mainly because of how important she is of a character for 11, but the character barely has any speaking lines at the same time, so middle tier feels appropriate. Next, we have Patrick, the third victim of Vecna's deaths. I included all the Vecna kills because I felt like it was right. Of the 4 kills, he's the character we know the least and have the least backstory on, so I will go D tier. I'll probably go like right here. Nothing against him, it's just, oh yeah, that's the forgotten Vecna kill in a sense. Moving on, we have Tommy H, who I'm going to put right next to Carol. Over Carol by a hair, because he does have this moment where he gets in C's face. He's like, because you couldn't take Jonathan Byers. I love that tension. They're like, they're nose to nose. those two kind of just suck. There's really nothing else to say about them. Next, we have Hopper. To me, it has always been my favorite in the show, right? There are times where I'm like, oh, it's Steve-O, it's Hopper, 1A, 1B. The final episode solidified Hopper as my outright number one character. I'm going at the top of S tier. This character means the world to me, and I love that he gets that final moment with Mike at the memorial in downtown Hawkins, where he basically lays out his entire character arc throughout the show. He's like, there are two roads you can go down, Mike. One, where you blame yourself, where you carry this burden, and, that can lead to self-anger and hatred in your heart and just being unhappy. And trust me, I've been down that path. You don't want to go down it. And there's the other path where you can learn to accept what happened and move on. And I think that's is basically the show as a whole. Like, in the end, 11 dies, or does she? You choose. But whatever you choose to believe, you have to move on somehow. And the show's kind of about acceptance and moving on to the next chapter of life, despite how hard it might be. And so I just thought it was such a beautiful ending with him. He gets the happy ending, settle down with Joyce. Ultimately, he did have to let go of 11, but that is something that he had to learn. Like, he can't control everything, and while he thinks he's a curse, he did everything he could for 11, and she made that choice on her own. He has to accept that and move on. So it's a beautiful arc, great closure for Hopper. He's the man. He's my man. I love him, and he's always going to be my favorite character in Stranger Things. Next, we have Victor Creel, but I can only refer to him as Victor Creel because that's how Uncle Wayne Munson says it. He really is only there to give us backstory on what happened with Henry and the Creel family. He doesn't have much of his own time to shine. He has a scene that plays out very Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs. Clearly an homage to that, even though it was in the 90s and not the 80s. I'm going D tier with Victor Creel. I'll go like right back here probably. I just like the way that he talks, and of course he's played by the actor who plays Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Of course, Robert Englund is his name. Next, we have Eden. I just wanted to include her because I felt like, why not? Eden is the character from season 4 who is like, I believe, technically the sister of Susie, and she's like smoking in the car with Argyle. There really isn't much else to her. I'm going to say that she is, this is tough, probably F tier, right? I mean, she doesn't have much to do. We'll go F tier, but we'll go like right here. Just because she means well and she kind of helps out in the end. Next, we have Max Mayfield. You can't have Lucas in S tier without Max, Lumax supremacy. I am going to put Max fairly high. Honestly, I think I got to go like right here with Max. She is out of this world, and in season 5, Sadie Sink plays the character so well, but the way they incorporate Max is great. I was worried. I was like, Max is just going to be in a hospital bed for 7 episodes, isn't she? No. She has this entire plot line inside of Henry's mind. She's crucial in getting information to our gang to take down Vecna, the Mind Flayer. And she still, ultimately gets that happy ending where she is skating. She gets the movie date with Lucas, and the two of them get to settle down and ideally have a long, happy life that goes beyond just the events of this show. So she deserved happiness in the end. I'm so glad the Duffers did get cold feet and didn't kill her in season 4, and we ended up getting Lumax in the end. It was really a beautiful thing to see, so you gotta love it. Next, we have Sergeant Ramirez, played by Emmanuel Bora. I actually got to interview him, linked up above. Character doesn't have the most to do and does actually get killed maybe the most brutally out of anyone in the entire show, which is crazy to see when Vecna just sends his hand right through his face. It was like something out of an 80s horror movie. I will say, I feel like I'll go right next to Dr. K. Both characters have a lot of scenes together, but there are just other characters who have a lot more screen time and more development, but still, I do like the moment where he does stand up to Dr. K. Ultimately, he pays the price, sadly, but I wish we got more of Sergeant Ramirez, to be honest with you. I wouldn't have mind seeing him in Volume 2. Next, we've got Dr. Owens. If you want to talk about justice for a character, justice for Dr. Owens. The last time we saw him was in Season 4, where we can assume he is taken in by the government and just disappeared. Not killed, but like they either take him off the grid or they force him to do jobs for him and work for him, and he can't see his family again. Like, it's very messed up and dark, but that's the reality of probably what goes on in the real world with the government. So you gotta imagine it's not too far off that we wouldn't see him again after everything that went down in Season 4. I quite like this character. I'm almost at A tier with Dr. Owens. I just think there are so many compelling moments with him. He's fascinating. Paul Reiser plays the character so well. Of course, he's an 80s icon in of himself for some of the roles he was in. I'm actually like teetering A tier with Dr. Owens. I think I will do A tier. I think I will go back of A tier with him. Such a compelling character. Great in Season 2. Shows up at the end of Season 3, but in Season 4 as well. Just the performance alone and like the sort of mysterious nature of him and his true allegiance. It's kind of a mystery throughout a lot of the show, but I think he means well in the end. Like, there's so much gray area to him. He's a fascinating character, and I do wish we got more of him. But I think A tier is appropriate. Now, next up, we have Kali's gang. I didn't want to give them individual spots. We've got Dottie, Axel, Funshine, and Mick. I am saying they're all F tier. I think these are the worst characters in the show. And they're all dead now, canonically, which I think is probably for the better. That means that the door has been shut to any of them ever showing up on our screens again. And I think that was for the fans. I think they knew we could not have those characters live or ever have the possibility of them returning. I'm going back of F tier. I think they're by far the worst group of characters in the show, and they're in the worst episode of the show, okay? I know people despise some of Volume 2. Have your opinions, your thoughts on it. If you look at me in the eyes and tell me that any episode is worse than The Lost Sister, I can't trust your opinion. You can have that opinion, sure. I can't trust it or take it seriously. The Lost Sister is definitively the worst episode of Stranger Things, no doubt about it. And this group of characters is kind of a main reason as to why. Now, next up, we have Eddie Munson, a character who only is in a few episodes of the show, but his legacy lives on forever and truly had an impact on everyone's lives as evidenced in Season 5. Eddie is a delight. I adored him, and Joseph Quinn is now a superstar because of his performance in this show. I am right between S and A tier. I think with the amount of time he has, the impact that he leaves obviously is lifelong. I'm like right there wanting to go S tier. I think because he only is in the one season, I can't do it right now. Like that S tier category is getting so stacked, but I think I can comfortably put him at the top of A tier. I just wish we got a little bit more of him, you know? Eddie steals every scene he's in. I'm right there wanting to go S tier. In fact, this is so brutal for me. I think that genuinely, I do have to put him in S tier. He steals every scene he's in Season 4, and he had so much life to the show, and he is still important. From beyond the grave, this character's legacy is felt. I think I do have to go S tier. I think I'm going to go right here. I think I will go right here, right there. Boom. I think Eddie has to be in S tier just because of the change that he brought to this show. I mean, Eddie Munson, you can feel his absence in Season 5, so I'm going S tier with him. Next, we have Alexei, a.k.a. Smirnoff. One of the saddest deaths in the show. You can laugh, that's fine. I feel like he was so close to like living the American dream and getting a taste of freedom, and then boom, it gets stripped away from him as he gets shot dead by Grigori. It's tragic, really. I actually got to do a panel with him, the actor Alec Utkoff, and Andrei Evchenko, who plays Grigori. I will link that up above. Very cool. It was the first time I ever got to do like an interview with at Stranger Things cast. Had a great time doing it. If you were there in person at the con, let me know in the comments. But I'm gonna say B tier for Alexei. I think this character, I'll go right here, has so many moments that work for me. Obviously, the Slurpee moment from 7-Eleven, but him and Murray's duo, especially in the end, it's tragic, you know? You feel for this guy in the end, and it's impressive. It shows how great the writing is that you end up feeling for him. Next, we've got Grigori, the Terminator of the show, who is one of the villains in Season 3, basically just a Terminator homage to Arnold's role. He's a villain, he's the Russian, he's kind of one note. There's not a ton to him, but I think that he has enough personality and iconic moments to warrant a spot in C tier, because I do think he's better than Lieutenant Akers, for reference. I'm going to go right here with Grigori, another one of those brutes, but man, does he give Hopper a run for his money. They have some great fights in the end, but Hopper gets the best of him ultimately. Next, we have Kali, a character who was obviously introduced in The Lost Sister and then came back in Season 5. Not one of my favorites by any means. I still don't really love what they did with her, but I always have to view her character as someone who benefits or aids Eleven's character arc and journey. That's kind of the whole reason she's in this show, is for Eleven. That sisterhood relationship, Eleven can kind of have someone else in her life who's experienced this similar experience of being, you know, a lab rat for years, essentially experimented and tested on and dehumanized. And so she can kind of inspire her in a sense. And ultimately, Kali does have a fitting ending, if you believe, and she did help get Eleven out of there and to live a life alone in peace out in the world. I don't know where I stand with her. I don't think she's F tier. There was a point in time where I would have thrown her down there without even thinking about it, because I don't care for the Lost Sister episode. But ultimately, in the end, I think they do enough with her in relation to 11 to warrant a C tier spot, which is really, that's growth. That's improvement, right? That's a win. This character would have been F tier if you asked me before Season 5 came out, no hesitation. I think they did enough with her to warrant a spot in C tier, maybe D tier, but I will go like right here near the back of C tier with Kali. I think she's still whatever to me, but at least they gave her a compelling final moment, and she helped out her sister in the end. Next, we have Nancy Wheeler, who is an S tier character. I know it's getting mighty stacked up there, but guys, this is a show that had 5 seasons over the course of 10 years. We got to know these characters pretty damn well. Nancy's S tier. Ultimately, it's revealed she drops out of Emerson to pursue being a journalist. She's not only maybe the most badass character in the show with a gun, like she walks him down, all right? Nancy walking down Wheeler is a real thing. But I love her growth from season 1 to season 5. The Jancy stuff in season 2, you know, that's a highlight. And then in season 4, she's not to be messed with. Let's just say that. I'm going S tier with Nancy. I will put her right here probably, but you know, she's fantastic in the end, and Natalia Dyer crushes it in the role. Next we have Mr. Clark, my goat. Mr. Clark coming back in season 5 made my heart so happy. After all these years, he's kind of helped out without knowing, right? In season 3 with the magnets, in season 1 with the whole flea and the acrobat. Now he gets to go to the Upside Down. He gets to directly be involved with the final mission. How picture perfect is that for him? I'm going to put him in A tier. I think he finally got his time to shine in the final season. But even before then, he's dropping knowledge on all these kids and helping out really without knowing. He was directly involved in all this. So I'm going to go A tier with him. Probably right here. Mr. Clark, my goat. Next up, we've got Keith, who's at Palace Arcade and Family Video. Just a goofy character who does have some moments to get you laughing, but Keith's a D tier character, right? Can we agree on that? He's kind of a goober, kind of a weirdo too, but I'm going D tier with Keith. I'll put him like right here probably. Over Barb. We'll go over Barb with Keith though. Next we have Chrissy, who of course spawned the whole Chrissy Wake Up movement online. If you were there for that in that era, that was a time to be alive for sure. I won't lie, the song was catchy when it first came out and then it got overplayed, but anyway, that's a topic for another time. Chrissy's a character who kind of has a tragic story, right? Kind of an abusive mother, and Vecna preys on that trauma. Ultimately, she gets got at the end of the first episode in really dark, brutal fashion. I would say C tier for Chrissy because even though she's only in one episode of the show, you feel her death. It kind of lingers throughout the entire season. And even in the moment with Eddie, there's like hope for this character. There's like this sense of hope in the air, just in that one exchange with her and Eddie where like, damn, what could have been with Chrissy Cunningham. I think I'll go C tier, probably like right here with Chrissy Cunningham. Next up, we've got Murray, the bald eagle Bauman. I enjoyed this character quite a bit. I think it's season 3, probably my favorite. He delivers one of the funniest lines in the whole entire show in season 2.
How was the pullout?
But in season 3, I think is when he really gets his time to shine. In 4, he also kicks a lot of ass when he shows up with the flamethrower at the Russian prison, his fight on the plane with Yuri. And then in season 5, definitely more of a limited role. I think they could have killed him in season 5, and frankly, I think they should have. He didn't really have like a big ending. We didn't get a Lord of the Rings moment with him where we're like, oh, this is his ending. Cool. He's kind of just there at the graduation. So I think killing him probably would have increased the stakes. I will go A tier with Murray, probably right here. Murray's a fun one, and you know, ultimately he actually, you know what, we'll go like right here with Murray. He's a fun one. Him and Mr. Clark side by side feels right, and I do think they could have killed him, but then we would have been robbed of some of his one-liners. Next we have Claudia Henderson. This is Dustin's mom, who's always crying. R.I.P. Muse, when she lost her cat, that was sad. Even in the finale, we get a moment for crying, right? Taking a picture of Dustin in his cap and gown. I'm gonna say Claudia is D tier. You know, a lot of these parents, I didn't even include some of them, like Lucas's parents are barely in the show. Claudia has a little more of a role with the whole Muse storyline, so I was like, I guess I'll throw her in here. I would probably go like D tier, probably back at D tier with Claudia Henderson. Poor Muse. When I think of her, I think of Muse, and that just hurts me, right? I have my cat of my own. I would be devastated if he was eaten by darts. That would just hurt my heart. And then not knowing what actually happened to him, it's one of the cruelest things in the show, arguably. Now, next we have Angela. And I want to put her at the back of this tier list. Out of respect for the show, I will still put Kali and her crew. Actually, screw that. Angela's the worst character in the entire show. I think she is the most hateable character in the entire show. She deserves a spot back there. And I'm not condoning what happened, but I can't lie, it was satisfying when she got smacked with the roller skate. I think it was satisfying, okay? I won't condone that, but did she have it coming? You let me know what you think down below. She's evil. Evil and cruel and wicked. To 11 during her school presentation is straight up a bully. I mean, just one of the meanest characters I've ever seen. Absolutely heartless, and I hope we never see her again. We won't have to, but seeing her get whacked, I was like, yeah, honestly, hell yeah. Next, we have Will Byers, a character who this whole entire story revolves around, right? With his disappearance, ultimately in season 5, it comes full circle as he's able to tap into the hive mind and play a role in taking down Vecna and the Mind Flayer. I was never as high on this character as the others. I think he's my least favorite of the OG party, mainly because he's absent in most of Season 1. In Season 2, he's dealing with those demons again. Season 3, he's kind of the outcast. Season 4, he's in the Cali crew. Like, Season 5, to me, is his best season. It's when he's with everyone. His duo with Robin. He gets a lot of scenes with characters in Hawkins. I feel like he was robbed of that a lot of the time throughout the majority of this show. I don't know if there's room for him in S tier. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I think he might be a hair behind the rest of the OG party because of Season 1 when he's absent. I know the show revolves around him, but Season 1 is huge for developing a lot of those characters. He's not there. When I think of the show, he has some great moments. Sorcerer, for example, is hype. But Will is one that I think is like right there for me. I think I gotta go top of A tier, right, with Jonathan. I think the Byers brothers are like top of A tier, but I don't put them in S because I'm looking who's up there. I'm like, yeah, I think he's just a hair below that for me, but he's like teetering on that line. I just didn't want to put every OG up there just because, and so Will and Jonathan being at top of A tier I think is appropriate. I gotta remember too, he's barely in Season 1. Season 4, he's taking a real back seat. Season 3 even, he's kind of like doing whatever, so Will doesn't really get his moment until Season 5, in my opinion. Next, we have Powell and Callahan, who are just schmucks. I don't know how they're employed. I hope Hopper fired them if they were somehow still around. They both need to go in F tier. I mean, they're both just bad at their jobs, so out of touch. Idiots, both of them. They're kind of the embodiment of like your stereotypical, cop who's just doesn't really have a clue what's going on in the small town, unlike Hopper, who's on it. I'm going F tier. I'll put them both at the top of F tier. But they're both just such goobers to me. Such goobers who just are, again, out of touch with everything that's actually going on in Hawkins. Next, we have Bob, newbie superhero. A death that really, one of the cruelest deaths in the show. I mean, he didn't deserve any of this. If you go back and rewatch Season 2, he had it coming. You kind of knew that it was going to happen, but you didn't want to accept it. I'll go B tier with Bob. I'm going to go top of B tier. I think that he's just so filled with hope. He's great for Joyce, and he means well. Like, he's so nice and kind to all those around him. He didn't deserve to get mauled to death. That really upsets me, and he had a tragic ending ultimately. So, Bob the Brain, rest in peace. Next, we got Billy Hargrove, a character who ultimately makes a sacrifice in the end at the hands of the physical form Mind Flayer at Starcourt Mall. A character who's very much an asshole, and in Season 2, psychotic. Like, he's going to run over the kids. It's clear that he has a rough home life and has dealt with abuse as evidenced through some flashbacks in Season 3 and memories that 11 taps into. But let me tell you, this character has some problems. I never was a huge Billy guy. I mean, it's hard to like him at all in Season 2. Even in Season 3, I will give him, he delivers one of my favorite lines. Hey, Lord ass, you want to be banned for life, Lord ass? I just always got a kick out of that, and I still say that line randomly. I think because of the performance by Dacre Montgomery, and because of the impact he leaves on Max's character and everyone else with the sacrifice, I will go B tier. He is one of the more interesting characters, and he truly commands the screen in Season 2 because you're afraid of what he's going to do. He's full on crazy. I will go B tier with Billy. I'm going to put him probably right there. I think he is a well-written character in the end. He's not the most likable, but I think he is a very solid, very good character in this show. Next, we have Jason, someone who is just a normal guy. He's a jock at high school. He loses his girlfriend, and then he thinks that Eddie Munson did it, this cult leader in his mind, and so he slowly starts to spiral and loses his mind. I can't blame him for spiraling. He definitely takes it too far at one point when he's threatening Lucas. I'm like, whoa, you gotta chill. But I kind of understand where he's coming from in a sense, his spiral so quickly as he lost his girlfriend, and he thinks she was murdered basically by a cult. I'm gonna put Jason in C tier. I think that I will go relatively high. I'd probably put him right here, right next to Chrissy, feels appropriate, as they were a couple, but he ultimately gets split in half in the end, and by the end of the show, you kind of do grow to hate him. He spirals real fast. Next, we have Yuri, the pilot, the peanut butter smuggler, if you will. I can't really go C tier with him even. I think I'll go D tier with him, but I'm going to put him right here in D tier. I think that he's got some funny lines, but he kind of irritates me, and he doesn't hold a candle to Dmitri, who of course is in the Russian storyline with him. But outside of flying that plane, Katinka, he doesn't have much value. And then finally, last but not least, we've got 11 on this tier list. Is she alive? Do you believe? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But 11 is the face of Stranger Things, right? If you think of this show, you think of Demogorgons and you think of 11. Those are the two iconic silhouettes or two iconic images from this show. 11 has to be S tier. She's never been one of my personal favorite characters. I do really like what they did with her arc in the end. I'm still going to put her in S tier. It's just a matter of where. I'd probably go somewhere. I mean, ultimately, she is a great character. I'd probably have to settle for let's see, not over Hopper, not over Steve, not over Dustin, or Max, or Robin, or Mike. For me, I'm going to even put Lucas over her. I'm going to put her right here. I think that's okay. She's in S tier regardless. She ended up having a fantastic ending, and ultimately, like I said, she's the face of the show. She had to be up here. When I think 11, I think of season 1, right? The mystery around that character, the Elle and Hopper relationship, that is what I think of, right? Elle and Hopper, that duo, the father-daughter relationship, it pulls on the heartstrings. Ultimately, Hopper loses that again, and it makes me want to cry just thinking about it. In my reaction, I was emotionally unwell as it went down. But in the end, you know, I think she probably did make the sacrifice. And even if she survived, she faked making the sacrifice, and she can never see her friends again because of the risk of being found and then another government agency or military group trying to weaponize her and create more kids like her. She has to do it for the greater good, and that makes her ultimately a hero. She makes the hero sacrifice. Even if she is in life, she made the sacrifice play, and it's tragic. It's ultimately a tragedy, but there's some beauty to it as well. And she gets to have the happy ending if you believe. I am a fan of what they did with her character's arc, and I think that it was a real fitting ending to the show, having her die, but leaving it up to the audience to believe what ultimately happened with her story. But that is my ultimate character tier list ranking for all 5 seasons of Stranger Things. Let me know in the comments down below what tiers you would place these characters in, and of course hit that like button. And if you want to fill out your own tier list, you can do so. It's linked in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. Be sure to fill one out and tag me on Instagram. If you do, I'll be sure to repost that to my story. But thank you guys, as always, for watching. I'm going to be ranking all the episodes soon, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a beast of a video. It's kind of daunting, really, thinking about that task. And then lots of other fun videos on the way as well you won't want to miss. But thank you guys, as always, for watching. And until next time, I'll see you on the other side of the Upside Down.